Hey, what's up, Olab? So you're asking, I recently got a 12XT and want to sync it to my MPC One. How do I do that? I would like to send all sorts of data between them, MIDI effects, etc. I've read that the 12XT has a class compliant USB. Could this be of any help at achieving this, or should I use another solution? So first off, I'll say I don't have any of the modern MPCs, so you'll have to bring some knowledge about how to change the settings on there. But as far as the 12XT goes, there are a few things you can change to have the devices work together. And then regarding the class compliant piece, so I think if you plug a USB cable into the side of the 12XT and you put that into the MPC One, I think the MPC can receive and send audio and MIDI. So definitely try that out. This thing's class compliant, which means if you plug it into a computer, the computer can use it as an audio device or audio interface. So I think the MPC works the same way, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, in terms of the settings you need to change, I'm more familiar with the analog connections like the MIDI ports, and then obviously the analog audio out. So that's what I'm going to be talking through. So in terms of the settings on this thing, the first configuration you could do is to have this be able to send or receive MIDI notes, either send to the MPC or receive them. So system menu by holding function, then pressing play. And then you go to MIDI. The track settings basically will allow you to have each track send the MIDI notes on a different track. So you could have track 1 send it on channel 1, 2, 3, whatever. These would be things that you would specify on the MPC as what it's going to receive from. And then I'm going to skip the channel settings. There's just a bunch of weird stuff in there. This is the other really important part, which would be in this config page. This specifies what you're receiving the in from. So USB and MIDI, USB or MIDI. So I'm going to keep it on MIDI since that's what I would be using. And this is basically making it so that it's able to accept MIDI signals from an external device. So if you want to send MIDI from your MPC to this, you would have the in from be on, whether it's MIDI or USB. Same thing on out to. If I want these notes to get sent to the MPC One, I have to turn this on. And then again, it could be USB and MIDI or whatever you're using. But for my example, it's just MIDI. TX note is something where if you want to send the notes out, it's going to transmit them. So you want that to be on if you want the notes to get sent out. And then CC's control change. I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I'm just going to skip it. And then these settings would determine whether you're receiving or transmitting other types of MIDI communication. So this is like command change values, I think. And then PC is program change. So again, if these apply to like what you're trying to do through devices, go for it. I don't have a lot of experience with those, so I'm not really sure. And then this is active sensing. I also don't know what that does. All right, so that's pretty much it. TX node on, and then the in from and out to are really important. Now the other thing that you could do is send MIDI clock. And what that would do is basically make it so that if you press play on this, it'll either wait for a signal and start playing when something else tells it to play, or you could have this send the clock out so that it's telling another device to play at the same tempo. And that would be if you had something sequenced on this and something sequenced on your MPC, for instance, and you want them to play at the same time. So for the clock settings, you have to go to the clock page here. And basically this is saying whether the source clock is internal, MIDI, or sync. And then sync is using these ports on the front. It's like basically a click signal, essentially, which old school gear usually does. But yeah, you would have this set to MIDI if you want to press play on your MPC, and then this thing starts playing too. So it would basically receive the clock signal. If you have it set to this thing's not going to be able to play by itself. If you press the play button, it's just going to wait for the signal. And then if you wanted to send clock out, trying to think how to do that. Oh yeah, clock out. So that'd be on the MIDI config page. So this is what I would turn on. It's on the second page of MIDI config. And if you want to have this tell other devices what tempo to play at, you would turn clock out on, and then it would send that presumably over the MIDI or the USB. And then, yeah, the last thing would be having the audio passing through, and so that would be a matter of either sending the audio out from the main outs of this into the input of your MPC, or having your MPC's main outs going to the input of this. I would definitely recommend setting up like a linear chain, so like this goes into the MPC and then the MPC goes into your mixer or speakers or whatever. Or you have the MPC going to this, then this goes to your mixer, speakers, or whatever. There are ways to set up like audio effects loops where you can like pass audio back and forth. Usually it involves some risk of creating a feedback loop, which is like a pretty terrible, super loud signal or audio that can damage your speakers or headphones or whatever. So I definitely advise against that unless you have like some experience doing that or have a very specific use case for it. But yeah, those are pretty much the main configurations and settings. I'll probably end up doing a more detailed video about this, but this is kind of just off the cuff. So hopefully this helps you out. And yeah, thanks for asking, and peace.